Hello Giants fans, welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. The Giants beat the A's today 7-3 in Game 1 of the Bay Bridge series. Carlos Rodon delivered a very effective start, giving up 1 run in 5 1/3 innings, so he stuck with the Giants at the trade deadline, made another good start, and I do expect Rodon to pretty much be really good the rest of the way through this year. Again, is it enough to turn the Giants season around? I don't believe so, but we will see Rodon pitch very effectively the rest of 2022. I just think that that's the case. Offensive contributions were homers from Lamont Wade Jr., J.D. Davis, and Joey Bart. So Davis, it's his second straight game where he's hit a home run. Wade, what's significant about him is that he's been in a season slump. This isn't anything like his 2021 season, which was a good one, but he hit a home run today. It was actually 2 hits total for Wade today. And Joey Bart, he's the other guy who's been coming through with the power. He homered again today. We've been seeing him hit quite a few of these home runs, and yes, it definitely seems to be happening on the wrong side of the Giants season, but that's what he's doing. And Jock Peterson and Brandon Belt also had RBI singles for the Giants. Junior Marte is becoming an often used reliever out of the Giants bullpen. As of right now, his ERA is still above 500, so not good. But it'll be interesting to see if he's able to change any of that in the rest of the 2022 season. At any rate, the Giants are using him, and to an extent in situations that matter, so he's somehow becoming a bullpen piece for the Giants. But it looks this year, there's several games back at the wild card spot, so it really looks this year like there's nothing to do except building up the farm system for the future, which that saddens me because it just doesn't seem like young talent really carries the Giants. And I'm not saying that building up your young talent is not a good thing to do for some teams. I'm saying it just has not seemed to be able to carry the Giants. And you're saying, well, what do you mean? I mean, yeah, there have been some guys who have broken through just from the Giants farm system. And when I say young, I really mean players who are near the beginning of their careers. I know the ages are different. When I say young, assume that's what I mean, that they're coming in with relatively few years of MLB playing experience. Not that playing experience always carries things either. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, okay, just take me at face value here. I'm saying the Giants' young talent, meaning their farm system, what they have in their organization. Unfortunately, it has just not seemed to me that really carries them. And you say, well, what do you mean? You're saying that after Joey Bart started to break through with these home runs, and yeah, even though that's a small sample, that is a good sign, but it's also, in 2022, it seems to be that this has to kind of be a rebuild year the rest of the way through, and we've had that since, 2018. And you could also say, what do you mean? Well, what about Logan Webb? He was a young pitcher who came through for the Giants. I understand that. Yes, absolutely. I'm not... But you got to look at this as a whole and say, what can a team live off of? Can the Giants live off of young talent? No. It's a fact that they don't seem to be able to. And they do have a couple of prospects we haven't seen break the majors yet, Kyle Harrison and Marco Luciano, so I just don't know how they're going to perform. We're going to have to see them have a chance to reach the majors, and then we'll see what happens there. But just by and large, you look at the big picture, by and large, the Giants have shown no ability to be able to live off of their young talent, their farm system, their group of young players in the organization. There are some breakthroughs, definitely, but it's not something that the Giants can live off of, so I really feel like we have a setback here in 2022, considering the Giants have to rebuild. But rebuilding, it's just going to have to be done in a different way, because 2017 was a year that had a lot of young players, and it kind of carried over in 2018. Did you like the young rotation that the Giants had in 2018? For the most part, it was young. well, Madison Bumgarner and Johnny Cueto were there some of the time. But the rotation was terrible. By and large, the rotation was terrible in 2018. It just wasn't good most of the time. I actually think the bullpen was better, even though the bullpen did have its bad times that year. 2019, they had a pretty good bullpen, and then I think a good rotation for some of the time. But it's just... So you're talking about pitchers, like we look at Kyle Harrison. Is he going to be the next Logan Webb or the next Andrew Suarez? I mean, these are pitchers who have just broken through differently in the majors. There's no way to tell right now. I hope the former option is going to be closer to being correct, but I don't think the Giants can live off of their group of young talent unless something happens to it, unless they develop this farm system better so that we're not back to square one like we were just a few years ago for this team when it wasn't able to do anything. Here's the way it was. So it wasn't able to do anything by way of getting to the playoffs. You'd find that out more and more as you got deeper into the year, with the exception of, well, okay, these 2 years, you can't call them exceptions. They're about half the picture, half the recent picture, almost. 2019 and 2020, they were making a deep playoff run, but still. What did they have to live off of? Okay, they fell off. That's what we're talking about here. They fell off of the wild card race both those years, and that still counts for me as years where they failed to make a really good contending move. So there have just been a lot of young players that have not turned out for the Giants, as well as some that have. And you really don't know about the guys that they've got. I'm gonna just give them my best hopes for right now, and we'll see what happens with that. But it's gonna have to be better, because I feel like we've jumped back this year in 2022. We've jumped back into the bad days of just the few years before 2021 where they couldn't get a thing done. Then in 2021, yes, there were contributions from the young players, and some of them were good. I'm not denying that. Lamont Wade was good last year. He hasn't been so good this year, except he had a good day in the game against the A's today. So, you know, it's really like we can't say what's going on in the future. I feel like this is just a repeat of kind of what we've had in the past. That's not been a good thing. Now, I should tell you about, here, let me just check on my lights. I really don't want this going off again. It's all good. Yeah, the other time, it went off right in the middle of the video. I really would not want that happening for the second time in a row. Okay, I read something that said that the Giants are a possible landing spot for Shohei Ohtani next year when he hits free agency. And the Angels didn't trade him in the trade deadline. I'm going to have to check the Angels' record. Okay, Ohtani's hitting free agency. They've got to be able to get a lot for Ohtani. He hits and he pitches. Who else in baseball does that? Well, maybe Jacob deGrom a little bit for the Mets in 2021. He's a rare exception, though. Ohtani, his two-way status is just a big thing. They got to be able to get a lot for him. So if he's hitting free agency, he wasn't traded, it leads me to believe that the Angels are in contention for a playoff spot this year. Now, before we move on, I just want to talk about the Giants, their success in 2021. It also came, was it that they lived off of their young talent? Well, the answer to that would have to be no, because Buster Posey, Brandon Crawford, and Brandon Belt were all All-Stars. That might have made all the difference. Also, the Giants had Kevin Gausman signed on. I think they picked up his club option from 2020. So having Gausman as a free agent signing was a big thing for them. You realize that just a lot of the points that led up to their success came from outside options, although yes, you can't deny the successful platoon system, and I think the way players were used, a lot of the not so big names were maximized. So it was a combination of factors in 2021. But for the Giants to contend in the future, they would need to think about the free agent market, and better than they did in 2022 too. So Shohei Ohtani is becoming a free agent at the end of the season. Basically what I read, if you want the short, brief explanation, is that the Giants and the Dodgers are both possible landing spots for Ohtani in his free agency. There was a little bit of talk about the Giants picking him up. He wasn't traded to anybody, and they wouldn't have picked him up even if he was, let me tell you that. He's becoming a free agent after 2022, and the Giants and the Dodgers are both, I think, kind of top candidates, and what I specifically heard was that he might want to stay on the West Coast. So, could be in California. I mean, Giants and Dodgers are both very possible landing spots for Ohtani. Now, the Giants, it goes without saying that they're going to have to be aggressive to compete with the Dodgers on getting Ohtani, because the Dodgers are in the Giants' division. They're their division rivals. We can skip over that and just say that they're in the Giants' division and that they make the playoffs just about every year. They're a great team. They are in. Did you see this year? I hope we see that this year that they're one of the Giants' fiercest competitors, you know. I don't think it was too fun to get swept in 2 4-game series against the Dodgers, and it really tells you something about them. So, Ohtani hits free agency. The Giants or the Dodgers could sign him, and the Giants are going to have to put money into this. They're going to have to seriously think about signing free agents. I mean, Aaron Judge of the Yankees, he might be a free agent too. I'd have to check on that. So I'm not saying it has to be specifically any one player, but since Ohtani can pitch and hit, he kind of seems like the best guy in the game. But all of that to say, there's competition for these free agents. So it makes my hair raise a little bit hearing about this. That Ohtani could be staying on the West Coast. Giants, Dodgers, both good. Possible spots for him to go. So are the Giants going to be able to compete this offseason and at least challenge the Dodgers on getting Ohtani? I hope that they can either do that or sign somebody, get some free agents at the end of this year. That's what I'm concerned about. They didn't get too much at the trade deadline that's really going to help them this year, but we go into the offseason. What's going to be the big question? Are they just going to rely on their farm system and their prospects and everything? Or are they going to actually be aggressive on the free agent market? That might be the fundamental question. Because it's not going to be enough to rely on prospects, farm system, young talent. This offseason, it has to be an aggressive one. And yeah, it's going to take some money to go into this, but there are expenses with running a baseball team and running it well, and this might just be one of them. There will be free agents out there. Giants need them as much as anybody. So I'm not saying right now who they should and shouldn't sign. I'm saying the top names on the list this offseason. It's just, we can't have a repeat of what happened this year. This roster, it can't be repeated the way this thing is working. And they've got to stay in financial competition on getting those free agents that are out there, because they can help the Giants if they just look in the right place and go and grab them up. So for the rest of this year, what's the main focus here on Giants Baseball 101? Well, first of all, I'm saying it's not over until it's over. As long as the Giants, as long as there's a possibility they could grab that playoff spot, you know, we're going to keep following that, and I'm going to keep giving you updates about the wild card race, and we're not going to drop our hope until it's over. It really seems like this season is past any reasonable chance of contention, but it's possible that something could get turned around. So I would say that as long as the Giants are in the running, you know, we'll keep thinking about it. we'll keep paying attention to what they do and their record and everything and see if they can put anything together. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. By the way, please subscribe if you have not. Any questions or comments, they go either in the comments section or just directly to my email, gabrielvaughn89@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.